The FBI, IRS, the CIA, the Secret Service have been bailing out Hunter for a decade. They let him skate on felonies, tipped him off to raids, pulled his guns out of dumpsters, lied about his laptop, walled off investigations so his dad didn't get in trouble. Permanent Washington has coddled Hunter and the entire Biden clan for years. But now that special counsel David Weiss slapped Hunter with 9 tax charges, instead of the litany of things he could have been charged with, money laundering, racketeering, bribery, kickback, sex trafficking, Hunter's lawyers say Hunter is the victim, and they're throwing tantrums like Mahomes.
The U.S. Attorney's Office knew over 5 years what had happened with his lateness, why he was, as everybody knows, at the bottom of the barrel of his addiction to crack cocaine, which explains a lot of his misconduct, and also addresses whether he was in what they call a scheme as opposed to just being at the dullest part of addiction. It's because his last name is Biden, but it's not like they're going after, some distant cousin. It's because he is the son of the president who's named Biden.
Oh, there you go. Lawyers lying on TV again. Hunter said himself he's been sober since June 2019. So you can't blame crack for tax fraud in 2020. For years, Democrats have been calling you deplorable. But Hunter Biden is the biggest deplorable in America. Hunter was stiffing his ex-wife with alimony and his baby mama with child support payments, which he said he didn't have enough money for. But Hunter was partying like a rock star, not at a Motel 8, at America's finest hotels, spending obscene amounts of bribe money on hookers and drugs. You can't blame crack for cheating on your taxes for 4 years. He wasn't high for 4 years straight. No one's high for 4 years straight. And because when he was sober, he was emailing his assistant to pay off his boat loan and Venmo strippers. Hunter spent nearly $1 million on strippers. He spent 20 grand on porn. Porn's free. Everybody knew this. Joe Biden knew it. The CIA did. The FBI, the IRS knew it. China knew it. Ukraine knew where the money was going. Was Hunter high on crack when he wired 10 grand to a sex club and then deducted it as a business expense? Special prosecutor Dave Weiss writes in the indictment, quote, the defendant claimed business expenses, including approximately 388 grand in business-related travel, despite having done little or no business in that year. All right, so the special counsel said Hunter didn't do any business in 2018, but got paid $2.1 million. So the special counsel is charging Hunter for not paying taxes on bribes. Professor Turley had a great line. It's like arresting a bank robber for speeding away from the crime scene without mentioning why he was speeding or where he was coming from. What a ridiculous way to keep President Biden out of trouble. We caught your family taking bribes, Mr. President, but he didn't pay taxes on the bribes, which is against the law. Don't worry about the bribery thing. We'll handle it. Hunter was also paying fake wages to women he was having sex with and then writing it off as a business expense. Say what you want about the Bidens, they can really create jobs. And then for 4 years, Hunter withdrew $1.6 million in cash from ATMs. Has anybody checked President Biden's safe in Rehoboth? They rummaged through Melania's underwear drawer, but $1.5 million cash went missing, and no one's curious if it's sewn up into one of Joe Biden's windbreakers like Gold Bar Bob? Foreign nationals are wiring millions of dollars to the Biden family, and the Biden family is making millions in cash withdrawals, and no one wonders if the president has cash in his drawers? No one peek? The president's deplorable son is making a mockery out of you. The president claims he's fighting for the middle class, claims he was the poorest man in Congress. His son is living at luxury hotels, $1,000 a night. Hunter's hookers were ordering Dom Perignon, filet mignon. One of his women ordered a $50 filet for her dog. So Hunter's staying at the fanciest hotels in America, paying sex traffickers to send him women, stiffing his kids and his ex-wife, cheating on his taxes, and he's partying like he's the Super Bowl MVP. He doesn't blame himself. Of course, it's the Russians and the Republicans' fault.
This whole idea that this may not in every aspect be a Russian disinformation campaign, but it has literally every earmark of what the Russians did. What they're trying to do is they're trying to kill me, knowing that it will be a pain greater than my father could be able to handle.
He just repeated the letter that the CIA agent signed that has all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation. It's like 4 years later. He's still using the fake letter from the 51 agents. So this dirtbag thinks he's a martyr. He's just an addict suffering from addiction like everybody else. He's not like everybody else. He's a spoiled brat who went on a 4-year bender because he didn't want to grow up. And he didn't have to grow up because no one ever held him accountable. Not his dad, not law enforcement, definitely not the press. Hunter likes drugs. It's that simple. He likes prostitutes. People can kick the habit. They do it every day. He didn't have the discipline or have to face the consequences like everyone else. And the Democrats are using this as an excuse to cover up the biggest bribery scandal in American history. And Hunter's rotten to the core. He didn't turn into an angel after he quit crack. He's still evading taxes. He was still dodging child support. He's still lying to everybody. He never even paid his taxes back. A Democrat donor did. Rich Democrat Kevin Morris paid off Hunter's taxes. So you can take bribes, not pay taxes on them, and have your dad's donors pay it off? Since when? So when Trump is reelected, his family could take bribes, cheat the IRS, and have Republican donors pay their back taxes? That's how this works now, right? It's an illegal campaign contribution. It's another thing they aren't charging just to protect Joe. Because remember, this has nothing to do with Joe Biden.
There are a lot of people in this country who have children who have fallen to addiction, and despite 2 years of effort, there's been no success in linking Biden to any wrongdoing by Hunter Biden.
That link has not been drawn yet.
No, it hasn't. There's yet to be any evidence that President Biden had anything to do with the criminal charges his son now faces.
So you're watching the media brainwash America. This is how it's done. They just repeat the same thing. No evidence, no evidence, no evidence. They can't argue the facts. They just deny, deny, deny. They want you to feel bad for Joe Biden for raising such a deplorable son.
You have to remember, anyone who knows Joe Biden, I think, knows that he responds to all of this as a father first, right, and not as a politician. And Joe Biden is devoted to his son, Hunter. He was by his side as he fought this horrific addiction. And I think it's hard not to think that he must be concerned about what this spotlight now may do for his son's, continued recovery.
Garbage. A good dad wouldn't have covered up the cocaine at the White House. Only a politician would have done that. Always remember, while Joe Biden was raising a deplorable, lying, scheming cheat who he dangled around the globe for cash, knowing he was consuming narcotics, he calls you racist. He calls you an extremist. He calls you unpatriotic. And he calls you a Neanderthal. Who's the Neanderthal? And remember what came out of the president's mouth.
I hope my grandkids grow up to don't listen to their parents who all decided to do something, run the World Food Program, another one be Attorney General, another one run a social organization for at-risk youth. They got all this education, and I should have had a Republican kid. So when they put me in a home, I'd have a window with a view. You know what I mean? But now there's going to be no view.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.